How can adding and subtracting mixed numbers help you solve problems? Think about this question during the lesson. Clarice has 2 lengths of fabric to make covers for a sofa and chair. The covers require 9 2/3 yards of fabric. How much fabric will Clarice have left over? What information do you need to find first?
Find how much fabric Clarice has in all. What operation should you use to find the total length of fabric Clarice has? You should add to find how much fabric Clarice has in all. How do you add fractions with unlike denominators?
To add fractions with unlike denominators, rewrite the fractions as equivalent fractions with a common denominator. How do you add mixed numbers with a common denominator? First, add the fractional parts by adding only the numerators and writing the sum above the common denominator. Then add the whole numbers. What do you do when the numerator of a fraction is greater than the denominator? The denominator. When the numerator of the fraction is greater than the denominator, rename it as a mixed number. So you can rename 19/12 as 1 7/12. 12 plus 1 7/12 equals 13 7/12. Clarice has 13 7/12 yards of fabric in all.
Clarice needs 9 2/3 yards of fabric to make covers for a sofa and chair. What operation should you use to find how much fabric Clarice will have left over? Clarice will have left over. You should subtract the amount of fabric she will use from the amount she has to find how much fabric Clarice will have left over. How do you subtract fractions with unlike denominators?
To subtract fractions with unlike denominators, rewrite the fractions as equivalent fractions with a common denominator. How do you subtract 2 mixed numbers with like denominators when the numerator of the first fraction is less than the numerator of the second fraction? You regroup from the whole number and add 1 whole to the fractional part. How do you subtract mixed numbers? Subtract the fractional parts, then subtract the whole numbers. Clarice will have 3 11/12 yards of fabric left over. Now you know how adding and subtracting mixed numbers can help you solve problems.